equals the slope times x minus x1, where 4 is x1, y1 is 64. The question is, how do I find the slope? That's the key. Can anyone tell us? Oh, you find the slope like this. How do I find the slope?
The derivative of 4.
Yes. So the slope is f prime of 4. Awesome. Thank you so much. Good. Can anyone give us f prime of x? Because I cannot find f prime of 4 if I don't have f prime of x. I have to find f prime of x and then plug in 4 in it. Excellent. Can anyone differentiate this?
Is it 3x?
Very good. 3x squared. Subtract 1 from the power. Now let's plug in 4. So f prime of 4 will be 3 times 16, which is 48. So this is 48. Can we move on, or do you want me to other problems, or do you want me to distribute? And
I thought you had to find the like different quotient after you find the slope or something.
not anymore, because unless the problem specifies, you know differentiation rules now.
Okay.
Unless the problem says use the derivative, or the definition, better, the definition of the derivative. I will never use the definition of the derivative unless it says specifically use the definition of the derivative. And then I have to find f prime of x equals the limit as h approaches 0 from f of x plus h minus f of x divided by h.
Question.
Yes.
I want to find the slope, but it's like solving that gets a little confusing.
Finding y, you mean?
Yeah, solving for lim and then fx plus h minus fx.
So you want to pick a function to do this?
Well, I just remember there was a question where you had to find the slope and then solve for the different quotient or whatever.
I'm not sure. Can you find the question so we can work on it?
In 1.4, it was a homework question.
Yes, any question, sure. So I will never use the definition of the derivative unless the problem states so. If the problem says use the definition of the derivative, not differentiation rules, then I have no choice. I have to use this. But if it says just find f prime, you find f prime using the differentiation rules. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. Any question? So I do have that listed here. F prime using the definition. If you want to do 14 on page 144 or any other problem, it doesn't matter. I'm going to check that. So 14 on page 144 or any other problem. And then we have to use the definition, which is this, and we have no choice. So do we have a problem, or we work on 14? Also remember, all the written homework solutions are posted. You must look at those. So, Michaela, are we waiting for a question, a problem, or?
Oh, sorry, I thought you wanted to move on.
No. This is one of the on the agenda. So if you have your problem, we can skip the 14 and do yours. Work on yours.
Okay.
It doesn't matter which one.
So it was 1.4 question. It says find the equation of the line tangent to the graph, and it was fx equals 3 over x, and it was at -7, comma, -3 over 7. And then it says the equation of the tangent line is y equals blank.
Right, so we have to find the equation. So we have y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. So y1 is -7, I'm sorry, x1 is -7, y1 is -3/7, and we have to find the slope. So it's the same problem, but you want to determine this using the definition. Is that the understanding?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Let's do that. So f prime of x equals the limit as age approaches 0, f of x plus age, which is 3 over x plus age, minus 3 over x divided by age. Is this okay so far?
Yes, this is what I get confused on.
So at this point, we have to find the least common denominator. So age is the same with the age over 1. The least common denominator has to be the product of these two. They don't have anything in common. When we talk about common, we talk about common factors. They don't have any common factors. So it's x times x plus h. Now, the top here has to be multiplied by x, and the top here has to be multiplied by x plus h. How do I determine these? Well, x plus h was multiplied by x in the denominator, so I have to multiply the numerator by x. X was multiplied by x plus h, so I have to multiply the numerator by the same thing. But now careful, because we have to distribute -3 to x and -3 to h. And remember, there are two requirements here. The first absolute requirement is all terms without age must go away. If they don't, you say stop, I have an error somewhere. So then we have limit as age approaches 0. The numerator is -3h. The denominator is x plus h. And we multiply by the multiplicative inverse of the denominator. That's the way we divide fractions. This fraction is this, stays as is, but I have to flip the denominator. And this is what has to happen next. At this point, I have the limit as age approaches 0, -3 at the top, and x plus h in the denominator. And when age approaches 0, the answer is -3 over x squared. So in order to, yes, go ahead.
You get rid of the h and then you just do x times x, and that's your answer.
I find the limit. I apply the limit. The limit says, what is the target of this when age approaches 0? The target of this is -3 over x squared when age approaches 0.
Right, okay, thank you.
Thank you. And then, in order to determine the slope, you will have to plug in -7. So this slope is f prime of x evaluated, I should have said directly, f prime of 7. Okay? So you plug in 7 in f prime of x. And we have f prime of x. And when I plug in 7, so f prime of 7 is -3 over 49. So this is -3, -3 over 49. This piece. And then you distribute and combine like terms, etc., etc. Is that good enough?
Yes.
Perfect. Other questions? Anyone else? Other questions? Okay. Is the equilibrium point okay? Or do we have to go back to the equilibrium point? Because this is
Show an example.
yes, so this is algebra. These are all algebra. I'd like to move on to the calculus. The equilibrium point, you have to set them equal to each other and find the point. The compound interest is also algebra. The piecewise defined function is also algebra. So equilibrium point, 84 on 61. 84 on 61. So we have p equals 7 minus q, and p equals 2, the square root of q plus 1. So what we need to do is just set them equal to each other. So we have 7 minus q equals 2, the square root of q plus 1. Anyone remembers what to do with this? How do we, from algebra, how do we solve this equation? There is no calculus here. We need to review the equilibrium point for something that follows later in a later chapter, but there is no calculus here. So how do we solve this equation? Anyone, please? Any suggestions? Ideas? Anything?
Do we have to get do we have to get G by itself?
So it's Q. Sorry about that.
Or Q, my fault.
No, we have to square both sides because the equation is a radical equation. Can anyone give us 7 minus Q squared? And then on the other side, what do we have to write?
49
Yes, perfect.
minus 2G. I mean, minus 14G.
Yes, awesome. 14Q
plus G squared.
plus Q squared. Awesome.
G
So now
squared.
this is 4, and this is Q plus 1. Distribute, combine like terms, and get the solution. Okay. So we have Q squared minus 14Q plus 49 equals 4Q plus 4. We move these two terms to the other side. Q squared minus 18Q and plus, what is it, 45 equals 0. And what do we have here? 15 and 3. So we have Q equals 3 and Q equals 15. However, they're telling us, they're giving us a graph. So they're saying that Q cannot be greater than 15. Both work, both are correct, but they're telling us that Q has to be 3. I mean, under 15. There is a graph in the book. So then the equilibrium point is Q equals 3, and now I have to determine P. No problem. 7 minus 3 is 4. So that's the equilibrium point. Okay, so any questions on this? Any questions on this problem? Okay, so let's go to differentiate using differentiation rules. So let's look at this one, 57 on 155. Feel free to choose if you'd like something else. I'll gladly do anything else you want. So I picked 57. So again, the same type of question, f of x equals x squared minus the square root of x. And they want us to find the equation of the tangent line to the graph at 1, 0. There is no need to write the equation again and again, but can anyone differentiate this for us? Can anyone differentiate x squared minus the square root of x, please?
We would 2x
Excellent.
minus x to the negative 1/2.
Careful. So the square root of x, we should never do that. This is 1 over 2 the square root of x. This is carved in stone. This is one of those formulas that we should always remember. 1 over 2 the square root of x. Good. Awesome. Let's look at page 163, 35 and 46 on 163. 163. Now that's the chain rule, which is extremely important. Okay. 163. So 35 is f of t equals t plus 2 over t times t squared minus 3. And the other one, let me copy both. F of x equals 3x squared minus 5x over x squared minus 1. So which rule applies here and which rule applies here? Once we know which rule applies in each case, then we are in business. Anyone can tell us which rule applies in the first and the second? Sipping some water? Anyone?
Product rule.
Product rule in here. Excellent.
And quotient rule.
Excellent. Very good. So let's do that. So remember, f prime of t will be the derivative of the first one times the second one, plus the derivative plus the first one times the derivative of the second one. Can anyone give us the derivative of the first one? The derivative of t. Excellent. The derivative of 2 over t. The derivative of 2 over t. Can anyone give us that?
Two.
We carved in stone the derivative of 1 over t a long time ago as negative 1 over t squared. This is carved in stone. This is one of the very important rules that we cannot forget. So now, keeping this in mind, can anyone give us the derivative of 2 over t? Anyone, please.
-2 over t squared.
Brilliant. Thank you. Plus, the first one now, t plus 2 over t. Can anyone give us a derivative of this? Can anyone differentiate t squared minus 3 for us? Anyone, please.
2.
Thank you. And so on and so forth. You can distribute if you want to. So we say it. Yes, please. Yes.
Shouldn't it be plus 2 over 2 squared? 2 over t squared?
This one.
Yes, 1 plus. 'Cause it's negative
1
3.
divided by t prime is negative 1 over t squared. So if you move the 2 in front, because you're not differentiating, it's a constant. This is the same with 2 times 1 over t prime.
Right, and it's negative.
Yes. It is. Can you repeat the question? Maybe I misunderstood.
Maybe I'm just looking at it wrong. I thought it was already minus.
Oh, no. It was plus initially.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. No worries. Okay, so now let's differentiate the second one.